Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Joffrey Noodle Legs here today with another noodle film review. Here we are once again in Arrow video week, and yesterday we looked at Deadly Games, and today we're looking at another new sort of release by Arrow, and it's Audrey Rose. This came out, I believe, this year, or it might be come out November, December, the end of last year. But it's new to me anyway. This is the Arrow edition. This is I think the first printing, because it does have the booklet, which is cool. It's cool to have the booklet with it. Little synopsis of the film. The film starts off with a sort of car crash. And then, so as you can see, that car sort of came down the embankment and sort of crashed in front of another car with a young girl inside, who we believe to be Audrey Rose. Anyway, that car's rolled down the embankment and now it's sort of set on fire. So what an awful crash, what an awful thing to go. And then we got the starting titles, and we see a young family, a mother, a father, and a daughter. I think the daughter's name is Ivy, I believe, and they're on a nice little bike ride. So we get a lovely sort of bike ride sort of shot for the beginning of the film, which I actually quite like. And there's one really nice scene when they're cycling by a lake and it pans out and you can see that they're in New York. We then cut to a bit in the film where the mother of the little family is waiting outside the girls' school, waiting for her to finish school, and it's absolutely chucking it down with rain. Really beautifully shot, and there's a strange man there watching or waiting outside too that she's never seen before, and that he's played by Anthony Hopkins.
Oh! Hey, Mom, 2 tests today, both in math, and they popped one on us. Can you believe it?
You're kidding. No warning at all?
No, they didn't.
Come on, sweetie.
Anyway, so Ivy, her daughter, comes out of school and she meets up and they start to walk away. She turns around and looks and sees that Anthony Hopkins is following them. And so she sort of makes haste to their apartment, which is in like a. Uh, it, it's probably quite common in America where apartments have got like a really beautiful apartments in one big building with like it's got like a doorman and everything outside. I mean, we don't. I don't know if we have that sort of thing here, but I've never seen it. But yeah, they live in this beautiful apartment. So they go in, and Ivy sort of gets herself settled home from school. Um, and then the mother looks out the window to see if that chap's still following.
Hey, how about a Coke?
I'll have it later.
Okay. Oh, Ivy, don't forget to hang your coat on a chair.
Oh, all right.
Open up.
Bill. Oh,
Hey, what is it? You're shaking.
it's just the weather. You're home early.
So she thought that the guy following them was breaking into the house behind them, but it's actually the husband of the family arriving home from school, from work, school. Anyway, so it wouldn't be my video, would it? About at least one mess up. So he's home from work, and he goes to visit Ivy in her bedroom.
Hiya, princess.
Hi, Daddy. I found it. Well, nice cameras, right? I was walking with her past this camera store, and I saw her looking at this real long lens. It's so neat. It's got all these little dinkies on it. Dinkies like that. Let me buy it.
Well, it's an awful long way to Christmas, honey.
Yeah.
But you know your birthday's next week. Have you made up your mind yet?
Yeah. I'm not gonna tell you.
Oh.
So we see them discussing Ivy's birthday. She's seen this camera lens that she wants. Bit of a weird for a sort of 11-year-old to sort of ask for. Okay, but anyway, so her birthday's coming up, and we then cut to the evening, and the mother and the father have got a couple of their friends around for like a dinner party, and they're having a chat. But we join Ivy in the bedroom, starting to have a nightmare.
Well, I don't know about you, but I have hidden debts.
Excuse me. We've got to go, Bill. Come along now. Ivy. Ivy. Sweetheart. It's Mommy.
Oh, Mom, it was awful.
What was awful?
I don't know.
We then cut to sort of like the evening, and the the mother tells her father about the strange guy who seemed to be following them today. And she sort of tells him. So the next day, we sort of cut to the school, and we see Anthony Hopkins once again standing outside the school. And the father of the family have gone to have a look to see, what's actually going on.
He has reddish brown hair, pale blue eyes. He's about 5'8", 5'9". A beard, rather full beard. Kind of a weird, spaced out look about him.
And he sort of narrates this sort of segment in the film, the father, saying about where they've seen him and stuff like that, because he's actually telling the police about this guy sort of stalking them.
Battered me? Has he come into purposeful bodily contact with you? I mean, has he hit you? Has he pushed you?
No, nothing like that.
Well, plus there's evidence of assault and battery. There's very little we can do here.
What do I do? I mean, what? Do I shove him? Do I push him? Provoke him? Get the son of a bitch to hit me? What does it take to get you guys to do something?
Look, Mr. Templeton, I'm sorry, but there's no law that says that people can't be on the city streets wherever and whenever they like to be.
And the police are pretty much saying they can't do nothing about it because the guy is not actually doing anything wrong. I mean, he's not attacking, he's not making any attempt to contact any of them, including the girls. He just seems to be watching and following, see what they're doing. He says, and there's no law against him being in the street, you know, unless he actually does some physical contact or makes contact. There's really nothing they can do. So then we cut back to the house later in the day, and Ivy and her mum are playing a game, a board game, and she gets a mysterious phone call.
Slaughter.
Oh,
Thirteen.
good.
And no fear picking at my pieces.
Hello? Hello?
Is she all right?
Bill?
I didn't see Ivy at school this morning. Is she all right?
So now he's actually made contact with them by phone, asking how was she doing. And it's quite creepy, isn't it? Because it's like, and this is the scary thing in the film. It's like there's someone you don't know contacting you, asking how your daughter is or your son, and they're just sort of like, you know, almost like they know them, and it's just like, well, and it's just, it freaked me out if it had been me, and I can understand where they're coming from. And they're starting to see him everywhere, like in this bit where we join the husband at a supermarket, and he thinks he sees him in the supermarket.
Mister, I only had a $20 bill in my wallet. That's all I had.
Probably misread the bill.
Well, can you see the register?
I don't care about the register.
Right on time. What's the matter with you?
Leave it on top of the register.
We then join the family at home in the evening, and Ivy has found like a present in outside the building with her name on it, and it's like a tapestry sort of bag which she loves, and she believes that her dad has bought it for her, but he hasn't.
What's going on?
Daddy bought me a purse. I found the package in the groceries with my name on it.
Oh, it's gorgeous, Bill.
Yeah.
It's the first grown-up present I've ever gotten. And the colors are just like the paintings in the ceiling. I love it.
You didn't buy the purse.
Anyway, Ivy has another sort of weird sort of dream again in the evening, like a nightmare. And the mother says, oh, she has this like it's near her birthday. She has this nearly every birthday. And the next day we cut to, they receive post in the post. And then there's an anonymous letter to them, which looks like it could be from the guy that's following them.
Clipping from who's who? Hoover, Elliot, Suggett, PhD, metallurgist, born London, England, educated King's College, University of London, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, wife Sylvia Flora, daughter Audrey Rose, vice president Unified Steel Corporation, Pittsburgh, writer, lecturer, published numerous articles.
Take it to the police.
It's not enough. All it is a couple of facts about his life. We can't even prove that he said it.
Well, then what do we...
So this is like a little bit of almost like a little paper clipping about this man. About he's an English sort of I think professor or teacher from like Cambridge, and he's there. He's got all this education and stuff like this. So there's just sort of like a little bit of information about him. And again, it's a bit of a weird thing for them to receive. Like, you know, it would have really freaked me out thinking, what the hell's going on? Who's this guy? Contact him, sort of thing, and what's going on. Anyway, the next, we cut to, I think, a day or so later, and I don't know if the mother's been attacked or nearly mugged in the street, but we cut to like this police that are at this incident with her, and she's I don't, she might have just had a fall, I don't know, he's not explained what's happened, you just cut to it, and then she looks at her wrist and realises she's late picking Ivy up from school.
The ambulance is going to be here soon, man. Now, don't worry, you're going to be all right. I've got your bag. You're going to be all right. Come on. Keep moving. Give us some air. Come on. Move.
Oh my God.
Please.
Ivy, what time is it?
3:20. No, take it. No, take it easy.
No, I have to go. I have to get my daughter. I have to go.
Yeah.
So she rushes, as you can see, she rushes to the school. She has a look for Ivy, but doesn't seem to be anyone there. She even sort of looks in her classroom. So there you see she's gone outside, and she sees this figure that looks like Ivy making a run round the corner. So she sort of pursues her. So what's going on? Obviously, I mean, Ivy turns up at home. She gets a real roasting from the mum saying, don't go off with strangers, because she gets a message or whatever from Anthony Hopkins saying that she's in the lobby home safe. And so she gets a real roasting. So what is going on? I mean, who's this Anthony Hopkins guy? Why is he following this girl and this family? Why is he sort of like pursuing this sort of like observation? And like, he's not really doing anything wrong apart from observing them. He does then make contact with the family after this incident of the girl, sort of like the mother being late for the school. After that incident, he makes contact, and he sits and discusses with them what's happening, why he's following them, which I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to spoil it for you. But the film then turns into a sort of really tense drama, horror drama. It's like no other horror film. It's like no other horror film. So what did I think of Audrey Rose? I was kind of really wowed by it. I thought it was absolutely incredible, and I think it's one of the best releases Arrow have done in a long time. It's one of their best releases, I think. It just wowed me. It was just like, wow, what an amazing story, and what an incredible sort of like because when it started off, I thought, oh, it's going to be like that film, Don't Look Now. I thought it's going to be like that, the Donald Sutherland film. But it's not. It's nothing like that at all. It's a strange film because it starts off like a stalking film. Then you get to know the story of what's happening with Anthony Hopkins, and then the family sort of like try it again to stop him, and then there's a bit of a sort of back and forth between that happens, and then there's a court case, and then there's a hospital scenes and stuff. It's just really, really cool. It's such a good film, and it's all revolved around um, Audrey Rose, who's in the beginning of the film, the girl killed in the car crash, and this now girl called Ivy. So you can work that bit out yourself without me trying to tell you what it's kind of like, what's happening, because I don't want to spoil it. It's one of those films I think you really should pick up if you like quite heavy dramas and horror, which is a great combination. You rarely get them, and this sort of film proves that it can work, like a heavy sort of drama, bit like The Exorcism of Emily Rose, that kind of drama sort of film. With this sort of like storyline, like a horror storyline, it just can work, and it does. And it's fantastic. It's quite an old film. It came out in 1977, so it's quite an old film. But obviously, it was off the back because obviously you had loads of child sort of films in the sort of 60s and 70s. Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, The Omen. There was lots of sort of children-based sort of horror films. Don't Look Now, and this is kind of in that sort of genre, but it's not a possession film. It's not an exorcism film. It's not a demon film. It's something completely different, and it's amazing. The pluses of the film: the transfer looks amazing. The photography in this film is spot on. Absolutely huge sort of budget sort of photography. It looks stunning. I love the photography in this film, and I think it really, really makes it. I like the sound quality. It's got really quiet moments when you have to really listen, and quite tender moments, especially with the young girl and the mother and the father, and the young girl with Anthony Hopkins. It was fantastic. The character relationships are fantastic, especially Anthony Hopkins and the girl, when their sort of relationship sort of forms in the film. It's fantastic, and the whole sort of the way Anthony Hopkins is quite a gentle. He's a gentleman, and he's come here with no aggression, but there's something he needs to get sorted with this family. And he approaches it in a very gentleman way, and the husband is very anti that and quite aggressive. The mother's quite understanding and sort of comes to terms with it. And it's like that kind of film. It's like all these relationships sort of all building around, and poor Ivy is sort of stuck in the middle of it all. But it's really, really cool. Such a different horror film. It's really cool. The minuses of the film, none whatsoever. Yes, there's no violence in it. Well, not violence. I mean, there's no sort of killings. There's no gore. It's not a gory horror film. It's just a horror story. But that's not a negative to me. That's just brilliant. Absolutely amazing. I'm going to score the film an essential watch and give it a 10 out of 10. Absolutely fantastic film. So glad I picked it up. It's been out a while, and like I was talking to my lad Lemon Lord, I've been and ahhing it when it sort of come out, because it's a kind of a strange name, Audrey Rose, and it's like when it sort of got an announcement for Arrow releases, you're thinking, that sounds really lame, it doesn't sound very interesting or anything like that. And I was never really sort of like taken by the title of the film, but then when I sort of like got nearer to the time of it coming out and I found out what the story was about, I thought, do you know what, that sounds really intriguing and different, really, really cool. And I thought I might try and pick that up at some point. And time just flickered on, and then I just eventually picked it up, some time ago, and I just thought I will give this a good look and a review on my channel, because it requires it. It's a special film. It's a very special kind of horror film, and it's different to any other horror film you've seen, if you love, like I said, like drama films, you will probably love this just as much, because it's not as a straightforward horror, like gross out or scary or jumpy. It's a horror, and I think of like a sort of chilling sort of story, and like, oh my god, imagine if that happened. And like I said, the stalking thing, it'd be the first sort of half of the film is pretty much Anthony Hopkins sort of stalking the family until he makes contact with them and discusses why he's doing it. Until that happens, it's like a stalking sort of film. Is he there to kidnap the child? And when the child does go missing from the school, they think it's been kidnapped. When it's all this sort of thing. So, but it turns out completely different, and it's amazing. Audrey Rose, 10 out of 10. Any of you guys seen it? If you have, let me know down below what you thought of it. I thought it was an amazing horror film. Completely different from anything I've ever seen. And I absolutely loved it from start to finish. The soundtrack was fantastic. The photography was brilliant. The acting is brilliant. There's nothing to fault it on. Amazing film. And that's my second film in this Arrow Video Week. Now, last week I did Chinese cinema week. Now, you may have noticed that there's not that many videos there. Now, I did do them, but YouTube seemed to be blocking a lot of my videos lately. So I think a lot of it's down to probably clips. So I might have to start thinking about way I'm doing things on this channel a bit. Because when I put quite a few clips in these videos, I'm always in danger of it getting taken down. And then I've wasted a good bit of my time, watching the movie, taking clips, editing the clips into my sort of like reviews and stuff like that. It's all time consuming. And when I've done it and it sort of like gets blocked, it's kind of disheartening. So I might kind of look at maybe changing it again, going back to the old ways when I first started, of just doing me holding this up, telling you a synopsis, telling you what I thought about the film. I'll see how it goes on. Arrow at the moment, I don't seem to have any of my Arrow films blocked. So I don't, it could be just certain companies. I don't know. I know Studio Canal tend to block anything I do, but the last few that I did last week were on Eureka, and they seem to have been blocked, which is kind of strange. But let's hope this doesn't get blocked and it gets out there so you guys can see what an incredible film this is. So please check out some horror channels for me till the next video. Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Designs, Pizzowell, check out I Am the Ice Lord and Sarah of Horror, Cat Watches Horror Films. Absolutely fantastic channels. Until next time, guys, look after yourself, look after one another, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.